All right guys, check this out. Here is the final product. This is how I set up my truck, camp kitchen, and how I stay dry. All right guys, welcome back to another video. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how I set up my tailgate camp kitchen and how I actually keep it dry when I'm on my camping adventures. Recently, I put out a video on how I organize my camp gear. Tons of comments, tons of views, and tons of new subscribers from that video, so thank you very much for commenting and for watching. So I thought I would do a follow-up and show how I set up a tailgate camp kitchen. This doesn't only apply to a pickup truck, but it could be if you have any kind of SUV or a hatchback, and you're maybe camping on crown land, and that's how you want to do a little bit of a setup with a little table with your gear in the hatchback. So this applies to all types of vehicles, and that's what I'm going to show you, how I set mine up, and maybe that'll help you for your next adventure. So first thing to do is I'm going to get the tarp set up, which I normally would get shelter just in case there's going to be some rain. I'll get that stuff set up, and then let's get into the camp kitchen. So for the purpose of this video, I am going to move the location of the ladder. One of the several reasons why I went from a soft shell rooftop tent to the hard shell is because the ladder is not fixed to the tent. I can put the ladder on any of the three sides that I want to, which comes in really handy depending on where you are parked. Because I'm doing the camp kitchen off the tailgate, the ladder can get in the way. So I'm gonna move that to one of the sides, and then I'm gonna have tons of space to work. The reason why I didn't show this setup or how to set this up, because I'm doing another video after this with this exact setup specific to hard shell rooftop tents. I kind of came up with a system that I've done here that is really affordable, works really well, so that's going to be a separate video. Let's set up some gear. All right, first things, let's get rid of this ladder, give ourselves some more room. That's the nice thing about this particular tent. Okay, right off the bat, we're going to set up a table. So I've just got one of these generic plastic folding tables. It's really a utility table, but we do bring it camping with us. We are looking at getting one that's a little bit more lightweight, maybe an aluminum one that has some shelves underneath, but for now, just go with what you got. There we go. This is our table. Okay. If there's no forecast of rain, I don't need to be under the shaded area or protection from the rain. But the nice thing is, if you're in the middle of the forest, it also helps to keep anything that's dropping in on top of you out of your food. We're gonna look at two different ways that I have used this before. We're gonna start with the first one, that there is no chance of rain and it's nice clear skies, and I don't have to have the protection of the tarp or if you have an awning. And typically what I'll do is I'll line it up off of the tailgate, sort of in an L shape. Just like this, you can see it comes off of the back of the tailgate. That gives me a lot of workspace. And it's almost the same height as the tailgate itself. I could put a couple of blocks or something under there and have it exactly the same height, but I don't really need to. Typically what I like to do if I have it in this format is I leave all of my camping bins and all of my gear in the back of the truck, and then I set up my cook station out on this table. So let's do that. All right, I like to use the tablecloth just because this is a utility table and it's dirty from paint and stuff and everything else we use it for. So let's throw a tablecloth on there real quick. Go with the good old classic blue checker. These little tablecloth clips come in really handy too, especially on a windy day. All right, table set up. Let's get our gear set up. Now, I use a refillable propane tank because I hate throwing out the little green disposable propane tanks. Plus, I have more fuel for an entire weekend, and it's refillable. I like to put my camp stove to the far end of the table, my cooking area. And because I have a long extension hose for the propane tank, then I put the fuel on the ground. And then I have my prep space, which is going to be over here. That way the fuel source and everything is to the far end for the cooking, and I can have all of my prep. So, pretty straightforward. I've got all of my utensils, my knives, tongs, everything else, and a cutting board, plates, bowls, pan, pots, and then I do have the jet boil if I need to boil some water as well. We can put that over here. And if you see, I've got a ton of room over here. Tons of space on this one table. I have all the gear in the bins over here if I need to access something. And this gives me a huge workspace for prepping the food and then cooking the food. Normally I position the vehicle, I back it in towards the fire pit if there is one. So if the fire pit was over here, I back it in so it's in close proximity if I'm going to use the fire pit for camping, which is my favorite way to cook. And then I have access to the fire pit and or to a camp stove if I need it for something else. And then I've got my full prep area. And then of course I've got all the rest of the bins that are in here should I need anything else. Pretty basic setup. Whether you're using a pickup truck or a hatchback, this works really, really well. And you can put a tarp off of the back, which I have with the Jeep. I just haven't set one up with this particular tent setup yet, which is in the plan to get a tarp set up coming straight off of the back. Now that I have everything set up, I can set up my camp chairs, maybe a separate table over here, a little side table, and then I'm close to the fire pit. I've got everything I need, and if I had to, I could move this table over underneath the tarp for some protection, and we'll actually do that. I'll show you how it looks when I have the table underneath the tarp setup. Okay, as you can see, I have put up another tarp attached to the original system, but it's just drawn right down to the ground. What that's doing is providing me a wind break, because it's quite breezy today, which is going to help when I'm cooking and I don't have stuff flying all over the place. Plus, if I do have some rain coming in from the side, it's going to give me some protection as well. Because these two tarps are the same dimensions, I can just clip the second one to the original setup, and it's long enough that it's actually just pegged right down to the ground. I have done several tarp videos. If you haven't seen them, check them out, because I'm always coming up with a new way to set up some type of shelter. Pretty basic setup. I've tucked the table up against the truck. It's actually pushed up against this tarp pole, which is helping to support it. The reason why that's there is to keep this particular tarp up so it's not sagging. If it is raining, then it's not going to collect that water, get heavy, and possibly tear. So there you go. Now I've got some pretty good shelter because it's quite windy today, and just by putting this up, it's a noticeable difference in this little space. I don't really have a lot of wind that's bothering me. Now, of course, by doing it this way, the rest of my gear is going to be around the corner, so to speak, at the tailgate. Not a big deal. But what I did was I just took my bin that has all of the rest of my camp gear in it, and then just stuck it on the corner of the table. Now I have everything that I need to do my full cook up here. If I have to, the fire pit is still over there, and then we're good to go. The table's completely covered and protected from the wind and from rain, and we've got a really good setup. I do have enough room that I could put a chair here if it was pouring rain, and I would be protected. Pretty basic, guys. Get yourself some type of folding table or something that will fit into your vehicle. Get yourself some tarps, and It doesn't have to be elaborate. Just set up a tarp over top of where your cooking area is going to be, and then that way when it's raining you can still enjoy it, cook up a nice meal, and enjoy your camping adventure. It's hot out. Oh, guys, it's 10 o'clock in the morning and I am just sweating and I'm not even doing anything. And now I'm in the shade. There you go. Tons of space. I should probably cook up some food now that I think of it. And there we go. All right, guys, let's take a look at the final setup. This is what my go-to is right now because I don't have a proper tarp setup to go off of the back of the tent, and typically we set up the ladder off of the back just the way that this particular rooftop tent works, even though I can set it up on either side. But let us take a look at this final setup. Now you can see we've got the 2 tarps set up, so we've got nice shelter over the top plus down on the side for some crosswinds, which is really making a difference when you sit in there. You got lots of protection. Enough room for a table, chair. When I'm done cooking, on the side I have a propane tank, the cooler, which I have easy access to. Like I said, I put my camp stove and the cooking stuff off to the one side. So I've got the double burner stove, couple of pans, single burner, then some other fuel stuff, the jet boil, pots and pans, and then this is my prep area. I've got a couple of cutting boards, plates and bowls, my full cutlery setup, some more water and some more cups. I've got a wash basin at the back corner with another big jug of water for washing the dishes, paper towel, and I do have a lantern that is attached to the pole here, so when it's dark I've got some nice lighting over top, and that is basically it. All you need is a folding table, get yourself a tarp, and there we go. There is my tailgate, or to the side of the truck, however you want to say it. But that is my truck camp kitchen setup. All right, guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope this was helpful and gives you some ideas for how you can set up for a tailgate camp kitchen. Doesn't matter the type of vehicle, really is the best thing is to just bring a folding table, a table of some kind, if you don't have a picnic table at the site, you know what I mean. And you know, there's no real one way to do any of this. Everybody's got their own style. I'm just sharing with you the gear that I have and what I have learned over the years that really works, especially with this new setup with this truck, this rooftop tent, and the gear that we have. Maybe this will help you out on your next camping adventure. So help the channel out, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already. I know you guys are liking these how-to videos that I've been putting out. This is geared towards the beginner camper, and thank you for the comments, really appreciate it. Keep in mind, guys, I'm not sponsored by any of the companies that you see here. I've mentioned that before. I pay for all this gear. Mind you, this is a collection of gear over 30 years of a lot of camping, but it really helps the channel out if you just subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Well, that's it. Now I got to pack it all up and start editing this video. So of course, I will see you on the next adventure. The table is basically the same width as this tarp. We need to zoom out. Okay, I just inhaled a mosquito or a bug. It's all good. If you're interested in a... We'll get back to that. Out of your food. Out of your food. Out of your food. We're ready for this camping adventure. Okay, we're not on a camping adventure. I'm just showing you how I set it up.